When I started assembling this couch slash bed, I had no idea that this was going to be such a big job. But it only makes it even sweeter when you're then done. I am definitely fixing it. I just need to figure out what everything is first before I get fixed. Hello there, how are we doing? Hope you're having a lovely day. Let's crack on with it. We're back with video number 2 here in the little van life fitness lifestyle series that I am fully passionate about creating. As of right now, the van is at the mechanic and there is a number of things that is being fixed, which is good, right? We rather want to fix all these small bearings and rubber parts and this and that now, while it's not fully operational anyway. Let's talk about what I would love to create inside this van, because for me, it's not just going to be a van where, you know, we can drive out in nature and see things. For me, I want to work inside of it, and I also want to be able to do daily workouts from it, right? So essentially want to be able to live my life like I do here, but on the road when we're on the go. I'm not going to be living in the van 24/7, but I will use it every week, and I want to take it in amazing surroundings and be able to cook amazing food, do amazing workouts, and enjoy the beautiful nature that is to be enjoyed, right? So mix all the best things of life, if you ask me. So let's just quickly touch on where we are right now and how the van is looking. So we can see this is the video that, if you've seen the first YouTube video that I put up, it's essentially the inside of the van right now. What has happened since then is the table is gone, and I have removed I am removing the seating area, which is then the thing that folds out to the bed as well. Now over here on the side, you have a microwave, and I don't want that microwave. We don't need that. We will have a stove, but we won't be cooking inside the van like this. I will be cooking outside the van. We live in Thailand. It's always going to be nice and warm. We don't need to do it inside. But over here, I'd like to create like a little desk, and it's going to be something like this. Is just something I found online, but it's just a desk in the side of a van. The way I would love to do that is that I'd love to create to change the sort of the tabletop that you see there, so this tabletop that we see over here, I would love to make that go a little bit further out, and then I'll remove some of these storage compartments we have underneath and make a sort of a table where I can sit and I can do my work. And then on the other side here with the bed, I'm still unsure about having it going down along the side here, where you can kind of, you know, roll it out, having these sort of beds that rolls out to the side, and then you can sleep facing, you know, alongside the van, or sleeping across the van. I'm not sure. And if we're going to sleep across the van, I will have to then remove this department we have over here with the electrical switches and everything, which I don't know if I'm in over my head with that. I'm not like very big with all the electrical parts. I'm trying to understand it, but that's sort of the vision. And then another thing I'd love to do is that I would love to make it workout inspired with having various elements of training, right? So here's 2 pictures. One is like they have some sort of you know, cage on top, where they have some rings hanging down the side. I already have a cage on top, but it doesn't surpass the outside of the van, so it won't be able to hang down, but I can make something. You can see this other picture over here. There's a girl, she's just having some sort of pull-up rack in the side. I would like to have mine in the back, where the bed goes all the way through, but underneath I'll be able to pull out, you know, like a bench to do bench press, have some dumbbells, and then potentially have on the roof rack on top maybe some sort of pull-up bar that I can fold over, that is stabilized in a way where, you know, you could do your pull-ups. Maybe you can have a pair of rings hanging down so you can do your dips. Very, very cool. We also changed the tires of the thing. We got these Dunlop baddies here. I don't know a lot about tires. I had to learn about this whole sizing, 225, 60/R17, and then learn about the load index of like how much weight you can put in each tire. So this has been a whole new world of things for me to learn. But these are called Grand Trek AT5s, and they seem to be, you know, a little bit off-roady. We wanted to find something that's a happy medium between driving on the road, but also, you know, off-road, because we want to be able to go like in more sandy, to park on a more sandy surface, and we don't want to get stuck. So I hope they will do the trick. Today's Friday. I think maybe tomorrow I can pick up the van. If that's the case, then right after this clip, you're gonna see a van. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Here we are. Here's the van. You can see it. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten the tires yet. Everything has been fixed. Everything is ready. I just took it for a test drive and it drives 10 times better. It's so nice, but you see the tires, they need changing and we're just waiting for that. So we're gonna stick around here for another hour to see if they come. If they don't come, I'm not gonna get the van back until next week, which sucks because I wanted to get this video out now before Sunday, tomorrow. Fingers crossed you're gonna get the tires. So, update. The tires did not arrive, unfortunately. So what I've decided to do now is I'm in my car, I'm gonna drive to the mechanic where the van is, and I'm gonna work on it there. I'm gonna start removing the remains of the old bed so that I can access the battery. And then I need to figure out what are the parts that are actually in the van, because I don't know. I need to know the size of the battery, I need to know the size of the solar power, all the different electrical components, because that is the next thing for me to figure out, is how capable is the system, the electrical system that's in the van. There's an issue with the aircon. I need to figure out what that issue is. And I am by no means an expert in any of this. In fact, I am absolutely terrible at it. I've had to sit at home, watch YouTube videos on how like these electrical systems in the van works, right? 12 volt, 24 volt, all of that stuff. Let's go there, let's disassemble the last bit of the bed and figure out what's in the van, and then with the help of ChatGPT, I can figure out, do I need to buy another battery? How am I gonna connect my house battery or the Hiace battery to the alternator of the van so that I can charge it when I drive, etc. There's a bunch of stuff that I need to be doing, and it's a bit exciting. I like the part of figuring this out and then making it work. Let's go. Alrighty, here we are. Look at this. Nice and tucked away. Here we go. This is where the work will happen today. We're basically going to remove this frame that I'll show you in a bit and get to work here. The most important thing is that we're getting something done today and we're not just waiting for whatever. I wish I could see where the tires are, because I would love to see the size of those, but I can't see them. Anyways, let's get to it. So we're gonna try now and get this railing out. There's some bolts that are like bolted into the floor where I need to use a grinder to get it out, which I brought. Then I want to check the battery here, what sort of how many amps it is, and amp hours and size and all that stuff that I'm learning about. And then have a look at this. So this is where all the electronics are, and you know, by doing a little bit of research myself, I can kind of recognize the different things. I need to see the sizes of everything. I need to see the specifications. So I would appreciate not having it locked away like this in the future. I think it's really not functional. So I'd like to have that turn around so I can see what it is here. I probably have to move the battery further up the front, because I read that for the car to charge with the alternator, it needs to be as close to the battery as possible to the alternator. So there's so many things that needs to happen, and step number one is getting this one away, and then seeing the battery, and then we'll take it from there. There is learning first, and then figuring out what I'm working with, and then finding the solution, and then hopefully by the end of it, 100%, everything is going to be just fine. The first challenge we face today is that bolt right there, this right there. In some way it's bolted onto the underside of this floor, and there's a counter bolt there that's just spinning. This is probably the most sketchy part of what I'm doing today, is grinding this bolt off in here without setting everything on fire. But the van is charging, the AC is going, everything right now seems to be going really great. So far so good. But let's get this done, let's get this out, let's have a look at the battery, the size of it, and yeah, take it from there. was the most sketchy part. That's done now. Now let's get it out. So what's basically happening now is I have grinded off this little bar, which essentially connects to the other end of the frame of the bed, and it kind of caught up these wires. Now, since I have this whole system, which I'm yet not 100% sure about how it works, I just need to kind of not touch any of the wires, and I did whatever I could to get the bed frame out now without having to disconnect any. You know, over there we have the water pump, the water tank, and obviously the battery for the wires for the batteries. So now I have essentially disconnecting all hooking points to this, and now I'm going to try and get this out myself. I don't even see how that's possible. I might actually have to extend it and then flip it and then slide it out. Man, like the people who built this van, like to even get into the battery you have to do what I'm doing now. That's ridiculous. Anyways, on to the next one. Let's get this one out.
1 hour later.
Okay, when I thought I was done, I just was getting started. I basically just had enough of this trying to pull it out that I just went I went nuts with the grinder. I essentially just cut it in two. And now I'm gonna try and get this out without completely scratching up the van.
Caught behind Venetian blinds, had to reach for the city lights. This ain't where I belong. Hey, look at me, man, what I become.
Now this one is quite a bit bigger.
Looking for a sunset, digging deep since 99.
If I don't ruin anything now, I'll consider myself lucky. Here we go. It's pretty fucking heavy, if you can't tell. Oh man, how am I gonna grab this? This is horrible.
I think it's time for me to go, burn all bridges.
When I started disassembling this couch slash bed, I had no idea that this was going to be such a big job, but it only makes it even sweeter when you're then done. You get an idea about how much metal I had to cut to get that out. But now, here we are. Here we are. Yes. The battery, the water tank, the water pump, intact. I could really use my Dyson vacuum cleaner now. I need to clean this a little bit because it's dirty. Okay, let's clean it up. So this is the battery that we're seeing here. And it seems like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these lithium battery cells. They're all connected. And there's a, I read it's called a BMS, a BMO something in here, which is like this little connection hub where it's safety basically. We got 12.8 volts coming out. It's written both places. I don't know how many amp hours it is. I still have so much to learn about this. But then if we go in here, this is the next thing for me to sort of figure out. Here we have, I think, the main connector, or like the off switch. And I think this is, that is to turn off the aircon, I think. And then you have the charge panel for the aircon. And then further in we have a, what's this say, 3500? Is that the AC to DC? I'm not sure. What does all of this mean? How do I figure out if it's the right size? If there's anything that's broken, how do I then fix that? Because the solar power is not really charging as it should. So there's just a few issues that needs to be fixed, and I am definitely fixing it. I just need to figure out what everything is first before I can fix, if that makes any sense at all. Just a moment of peace here as I'm sitting on my beach chair. I have my little computer here. I had to recharge my camera. I'm just having a bit of a little good feeling moment because I'm sitting in this chair. It's comfortable. I'm sitting here and I can kind of imagine how I'll feel when everything gets finished. Like I showed you earlier in this video, I want to have a bigger desk here that I can sit with, and I'll basically remove the you know, and create space down here for storage. Maybe I'll move the batteries here, etc. I don't need a microwave. And then behind you guys, where you're standing now, I'm gonna work on the bed. So yeah, it's just really cool now to finally see something is really happening here, and I can envision sort of what's gonna happen next, which is awesome. Yeah, the next video you'll see is then going to be me having found all the answers to these issues, and hopefully I'm not gonna be at the mechanic tomorrow. They're gonna change the tires. Hopefully that's gonna work out, and I'll get the van back home again, and then that will be, then we're full on back on it again. I don't need to drive up here. And anyways, that's it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that, I don't know, my mess of getting this progressing a little bit was entertaining, and if it was, then stay tuned for the next one. See ya. Find my way.